Oh, hey guys, how are you? Welcome to Joe Knows. I've been just working on my house a little bit, and you're probably thinking that, wow, owning a house is a lot of work. And it can be a lot of work, but I want to let you know that owning a house, the house works actually for you. So we've been talking about finances in Joe Knows, and I want to talk to you a little bit about, last week I said we would talk about how to create wealth. And income, remember, is the money you earn and you spend. You're earning it as a salary. Wealth is money that you're accumulating, and it's for the future. So one of the ways that a person can accumulate wealth in their lifetime is by owning houses, owning real estate. Now, you've all played Monopoly, and you know the name of the game in Monopoly is to buy property and then build on the property, and that really helps you to win that game. But owning and buying property is something that helps you create wealth. It's an amazing way to do that. And I want to tell you a little bit about why it's important. So if you're renting a house right now, someone is getting rich, someone is creating wealth from the house, the apartment that you're renting. It's the person who owns it. So if you're not the one that owns it and you're paying rent, then you're getting a roof over your head, but you're not, that money, once you pay it, is lost. And since everyone has to have a place to live, then I'm going to say if you can figure out how to own the house that you're in, then you're going to start building wealth for yourself. So let's just say 4 years ago you decided, you lived in Arlington, Texas. I'm in Arlington, Texas right now, and I know the market, the real estate market really well. So let's just say 4 years ago you bought a house and it would have cost you about $150,000 for a 3-bedroom home with 2 bathrooms. Okay, it has other rooms too, but it's going to be, let's say the house was 1,500 square feet. You bought that house for $150,000. Do you know that 4 years later, because of how the housing market has increased, that house could be worth over let's just say $300,000. So you paid $150,000, and now the house is worth $300,000. So guess what? You have increased your wealth by $150,000. You say, Joe, I can't buy a house because if the house costs $150,000, I don't have that. Yeah, but we live in a country that allows you to borrow money to buy a house. We live in a country that allows you to own property and makes it easy for you to do that because our government, the way our country is set up, likes when you and I own property, which allows us to create wealth. So if you could figure out how to buy a house as soon as you possibly can, that's really, really going to help you because then you start creating wealth. Now, there's a lot more to what I'm saying, but it's not quite as difficult as you might think. So if you'd like to think about buying a house, you say, well, I'm too young. Well, you're never too young to start thinking about it, to start praying about it, to start planning for it. So if you're renting right now, by the way, rents in Arlington, Texas are so high right now, it's crazy. And for you to be able to buy a house, own a house, it helps you in so many different ways. So I want to encourage you to think about that. So how do you do that? How do you get in a place that you can think about buying a house? The first thing you do, and this goes for everyone, is you call a real estate agent and let them know that you're interested in getting in the market to buy a home. Now you've got to have a job, but say you don't think you make enough money. Let the real estate agent start that process. And you let them know that you want to buy a 3-bedroom home that's between, I'm going to say between 1,100 and 1,800 square feet. Now, the reason that's the best first house you're going to own is because that particular house is the house that most people want to rent. Because you're going to buy that house and live in it, but it's going to be your first rental home, and I'll explain that to you in the weeks ahead. But what I want you to do is call a real estate agent, and they're going to put you in touch with someone that does mortgages. And you're going to meet with that mortgage broker. By the way, none of this costs you any money. And that mortgage broker is going to tell you where you stand, how much money a bank would be willing, or a mortgage company would be willing to loan you to buy your first house. And then you can begin planning to become a homeowner. Because when you're a homeowner, you are now building wealth. Now, What I'm saying, it sounds overwhelming. Let it sink in. I'll keep talking to you about real estate when we meet next week. Hang on to what I said and get in your mind that you're going to buy a house as soon as you possibly can. You're going to start moving towards realizing what you need to do to get that house. And in your mind is your first house that you're going to live in is going to become your first rental home, because eventually you're going to move out of the first one and move into a second one and rent the first one. And you're going to start a process where you, my friend, are building wealth. God bless you. We'll continue next week.